guys, welcome back to another episode of Formers Friday here on the Pop Culture Network. And I want to thank, first of all, Scotty Cash for being here last week. I had a family emergency and I was unable to do the show, so he filled in for me, took a look at my Age of Extinction Grimlock, and I want to thank him for doing that. He did a great job. I want to hop in the photo tent, though, talk about a couple things real quick. If we take a look at the Age of Extinction Grimlock, one of the things I've done here is I've moved the arms up. Normally they're supposed to be down like this underneath the body, if I can get it to go. The arms come down to more of where their natural state would be, but I really don't like this look in here. This just looks totally janky to me. I hate it. So I like to push these up, and it brings the arms up probably a little too high than where they really should be. But to me, covering up that area with this big piece of his side there, I think looks a whole lot better. I think that looks a ton better putting them together. And overall, I think the dinosaur look of him is actually okay. When he's in this dinosaur mode, if someone just made a robot dinosaur, if the guy who made Mecha Whales came up and said, hey, I made robot dinosaur, I'd look at this and I'd go, hey, that's actually pretty cool. But when you say that this is supposed to be Grimlock from Transformers, and you actually transform him into this super ugly robot mode, then I'm not so much entranced with the figure. So as far as having this on my toy shelf, I think I would leave it in robot mode and just leave it like that. And I think that actually doesn't look too bad. And I would just let it go as far as that goes. But since last week we talked about Grimlock, I thought maybe this week we should also talk about Grimlock. And of course, the latest thing from Grimlock is the Masterpiece. The Japanese version has been released in the US. They've got a special version of him here. So I figured this week it might be a good idea to take a look at that. So, if we take a look here, we can see the packaging is what you expect from the US release of Masterpiece figures. You do have a large box that's actually pretty big for my photo tent. You can see the alt mode here. You can see the robot mode is underneath. You've got the Toys R Us exclusive sticker. The MP03, because 1 was Optimus Prime, I believe 2 was Soundwave, and 3 is Grimlock, is that right? I don't remember. Anyway, and it's got the same cardboard strip on the outside of the box. You've got the 30th anniversary look with the giant logo, Transformers name. You've got Grimlock's information here on the side for those of you keeping track. There's his bio. You can pause it and read that if you want to. Let's see, nothing really on that side. And then on the back, you can see the accessories that he has with him. He's got the crown, the sword, the gun. His eyes change colors, and then there's a picture of him in the what they call the Dinobot mode, is that robot mode. So, I know I'm kind of a giant hypocrite because I pretty much said there's no way I'd be buying these masterpieces, they're way too expensive. But the thing is, the Bayformers, the continual rollout of these ugly type Transformers, is the reason why I got out of Transformers in the first place. And with the US getting releases of masterpieces, with the Generations line, I find myself being a fan again. I'm doing this show, of course, so I just decided giant hypocrite I am, I'm going to buy these Transformers. So, we're going to use the magic of video editing to take him out of the box. He's now in robot mode, wait, what mode is he in? No, he's in Dinobot mode, dinosaur mode, alt mode, whatever you want to call it. So, let's hop in, take a look at that. Okay, I was wrong. He is in robot mode, not in the dinosaur mode, not the alt mode. But regardless, here you can see how awesome he actually looks in this mode. He's got a lot of detail, a lot of character. The chrome plating looks nice. The paint applications. I love the look of the inset of the Autobot insignia. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this, and you can get an idea of how that looks. You can see how it's actually kind of set inside the chest, underneath this plate back in there. And he's got his accessories on him. He comes with the gun. I guess I should zoom back out so you can see it, huh? He's got the gun with him here. He's got the sword with him. And, of course, he's got his crown for being the king. One of the features in this set is that there is a light up aspect to him. Back here on the back of his arm, there's a button you can press, and if you look real close, you can see it lighting up. Now, the light effect is not the greatest in the world, and it's hampered by the fact that I have all these lights on for recording. If you're in a darker environment, it's much easier to see it light up. But you can, move the accessories back and forth depending on how you want him displayed and what you want to light up. Unfortunately, on this side, there is no hidden button, so this side doesn't light up. And stuff falls out of his hand pretty easily. But yeah, if you take out the sword from this hand and you put the gun in here, the gun also has the light up feature available. But again, can't see it all that well in this environment because we've got way too much light on it. But if we take the weapons out, take off the crown, you can see there's just the basic robot mode. One thing I've noticed about this one, a little different from the others, is that his leg doesn't have any sort of ratcheting. It's just loose. And while I was sitting here earlier messing with him, he kept sliding apart like this. This figure just doesn't tab into place as much as some of the others. So as far as it being a masterpiece, it doesn't feel quite the same. The level of quality doesn't feel quite as high as the others, but of course, this one was only 60 bucks. The others were over 100. Now, I say 60 bucks. If you go into Toys R Us now and they have them in stock, they're going to charge you $92.99. But I was able to get mine for the $59.99 because I have a Scotty Cash who can go in and argue with the manager at the store and get it for the price that you can see pictures posted online. So I think this is a really good look overall. Again, he's looser. If we can zoom in here on the legs, excuse me, you can see here that this part is really loose also on the leg. Nothing, it doesn't stick, it doesn't tab, it doesn't ratchet at all. So these are very loose, and just like the same way the legs become very loose and tumble over, this moves quite easily as well. But again, the look of him is that classic G1 style. G1 is, of course, the most awesome style. Stupid Bayformers. And this robot is good. He's got a big, hefty look to him. He's got the wide shoulders. He's got the strong midsection. He's got the giant hands. This way of doing the robots, I definitely prefer compared to the Bayformers that look all thin and skinny and have all the exposed gears and wiring. This looks like a dude who's ready to rumble, ready to get into a fight. He's got some good articulation. His arms move around really well. The shoulder has a nice ball joint in it. Let's see. We can move him at the waist, although the head kind of, or not the head, but this section right next to the dinosaur head kind of gets in the way, so you have to kind of finagle him around if you want to try to get him to move. But otherwise, the legs, even though the legs are loose, they do have ratchet in the knee, even though it's not at the hip. So you can kind of pose him, play around with him a little bit more. So that's actually pretty nice. And then, of course, the head, it does move pretty much every direction you want it to. So no matter where you want him to look, he's going to be able to do it. And they do have a nice chrome effect on the eyes there. So overall, even though he's a little bit cheaper than the others, and at the $60 price point, he's definitely worth it. At the $92 price, I don't know if he's really worth it. I wouldn't say he's quite as nice as, say, the Masterpiece Optimus Prime or the Soundwave. I don't know about the Starscream. I don't have that one, although I may break down and buy it anyway, because, like I said, I'm a giant hypocrite. But this robot mode overall is really, really nice. And as far as something that you're going to put on your shelf, you're going to display, you're going to have it sitting there with all your other Transformers, it's definitely a nice piece. It's something you're going to be looking at for a long time. It's just, overall just super cool, super nice, does some super great stuff. One other little thing here I should probably mention is on the head. We zoom in here. On the head, there is this little switch in the back. You can see this little tiny red piece of chrome here, and if you push that down, if I can get it to go, if we turn back around and look, his eyes are blue. And so then if you slide it up, they change to the red. So that is a neat touch. The eyes also change on the dinosaur mode, and we will take a look at that here in just a second. Now, the one thing I was kind of hoping for that I thought would be really neat, even though it doesn't make as much sense, but because you have this clear plastic piece on his chest with that Autobot symbol, I was kind of hoping that this would open up, you know, for like the Matrix of Leadership, like they'd actually have a Matrix spot inside of Grimlock, and I just thought that would be fantastic. But of course, it doesn't do that. This has to do with his transformation, is the way that piece is built. So unfortunately, you can't put the Matrix of Leadership in his chest, but hey, who needs a Matrix of Leadership when you've got this bitchin' crown that you can wear instead, huh? Alright guys, now we are going to put him into his alt mode, into the dinosaur mode, through the magic of video editing. And so let's go ahead and take a look and see how that looks. And now we can see Grimlock. That's right, Grimlock. Now that he's been transformed, I can tell you this transformation sucked. And basically because he came in robot mode, but of course the instructions tell you how to turn him from dinosaur mode into a robot, which meant you had to read the instructions backwards, and they didn't always make a whole lot of sense. On top of that, he has some action features which make putting him together a little wonky because he doesn't quite fit together as well as you'd expect. And so therefore you think maybe you're doing it wrong, when in fact you're actually right. It just doesn't work that well. Now, as far as the look of dinosaur mode Grimlock, this actually looks pretty good. I actually like the look of this. This does look like the G1 character I remember, just in a much fancier, looking version. Basically, we do have metal toes on here. Those are fully metal, although the rest of this stuff just feels like regular chromed plastic. But the fingers here, the claws, do move individually, which is nice. And you've got the ball joint here in the arm, which is nice. The mouth opens, and you can see that he does actually have his flamethrower on the inside. Another nod to Godzilla, actually. So that he can spray out his fire, and there's a hidden button here on the side of his face, which just makes his mouth close back up. So that is pretty neat there, as far as that goes. The tail actually has, I guess I better zoom back out so you can see it. The tail actually has a swivel feature. This is one of those weird things about it when you're putting together and it doesn't quite clip together. It's because this is actually made to swivel back and forth so you can kind of play around with him. If you want to have him wagging his tail, good boy, or whatever. And then as far as the other feature in the head, you have the ability to flip this open and switch the eyes around. So now he can have the red eyes, I'm evil. And then you can pop it back open and switch him back to the blue eyes. Now I'm a good guy. And there you go. Both set of eyes look perfect. This is just actually a really neat idea on how to have an interchangeable head basically without having to make a whole new head. So that, I actually give them credit for that. And I love this look of the clear plastic with the gold underneath that part of the robot. That is really cool. And overall, Grimlock, the Dinobots were always kind of weird in the sense that their alt mode didn't really look like their alt mode. Unlike, Optimus Prime looked like an actual truck, Soundwave looked like an actual tape player. He doesn't look like an actual dinosaur, he looks like a robot dinosaur. That's just, how it is. And as far as that look goes, since that's the aesthetic that they're looking for, it actually looks nice. You do have the ability, since there's a hinge right here for the head, that they can just go ahead and put it on there, and it really doesn't seem out of place because you've got all this other robot stuff going on at the same time. Now, I do kind of wish that this middle part fit together a little better. These are actually the bottom of the feet, flipped back, covering up here. And the problem is there's actually an action feature where you're supposed to be able to twist this back part, and it makes the head twist up at the top. So if you look at the head, when I twist this, it's kind of twisting the head up there. It doesn't seem to work all that well, and mine is really loose. And I don't know if it's just, if I twist it, I can get it to ratchet, but you can see there's a whole lot of loose area here. It actually seems to sit a little better up there. So I don't know if it's just because mine is particularly loose, it doesn't do that very well, but as soon as you start twisting, all of this stuff comes apart. So you're twisting and you're basically ripping him apart, trying to get the head to do that little twist. So that's kind of silly. Also, the legs, as you can see here, are on a little switch. They're not actually connected too deeply to the body because you push down on it and it makes his head look up, or it's supposed to. Can you see that barely moving up there? Look at that. Oh, he's looking up. Kind of. So there's something going on with this head. I don't know what the deal is, but this head is just not working that well with these action features. And I don't like how this twist just starts taking apart his midsection there in order to try to make it go. Everything just kind of pops apart. So I wish they hadn't bothered with those particular action features. Everything else that he has is really great. I mean, I love the eyes. I love the flamethrower in the mouth. I love the chrome. I love the clear plastic on top of the gold chrome. I mean, look at that face. That's just really super cool. So it's hit and miss all in one. Overall, though, it's much more of a hit than it is of a miss. The idea of putting this on my shelf for display, either in robot mode or in the alt mode, I'm fine with regardless. Some comparison here, if you take a look at this Age of Extinction version, the Age of Extinction version doesn't have the same personality, doesn't have the same overall body type. This to me doesn't look mechanical. This looks like bone spurs and medieval armor, and I don't know, just doesn't look like robot. This to me says robot. This to me says Grimlock. I really like this a whole lot better. So the two side by side, it's definitely much more worth your while to grab the Masterpiece than the Age of Extinction version. Although, to be fair, Age of Extinction version is about half price of what this should be. Although, if you're going into a lot of Toys R Us nowadays, Toys R Us is even scalping, and they're selling it for $92.99. Even though it was originally advertised at $59.99, which is luckily what I paid for it. Quickly it became $69, then became $72. Now it's $92. I don't know if it's up any higher than that where you're at, but that's definitely something worth taking a look at. So there you go, guys. That is Masterpiece Grimlock, the new one available at Toys R Us. Whether or not it's worth the extra money, that's going to be up to you, but for the price I paid, I actually love this guy a lot. Very happy that I own him. Don't forget, if you want to look at more reviews of toys, comic books, video games, whatever, head on over to popculturenetwork.com where you can check out all that great stuff. You can find me on Twitter at @PCN_dirt if you want to ask me some questions, any sort of follow-up on Little Grimmy here, we can talk about that there. Also, if, let's see, I don't know, what else were we talking about? I lost my train of thought because I was looking at him, because I like how he looks. Say hi, yes, hi. Voicemail, you can call our 24-hour voicemail line. It's area code 217-953-4025. Or you can come to the forums at jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network. Alright, I need a nap, so thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.